Hi Engineering Janta, I am Vaibhav Shukla and today we'll understand the balanced parenthesis problem. This is another video in the free DSA series that we are building for you so that you thrive high in your career. Fine. So we'll use stacks to solve this problem, but before I use that, before I implement that code, let's understand what exactly the problem is, number one. Number two, the point is, a lot of students were asking me, sir, please problem solve karwaiye, please give us some problem solving. You need a base before solving any problem. So till now, your base was being built, and now when I'll throw this problem at you, amidst of the problem discussion only, you'll realize what is the solution. Fine. You'll realize that how I can use push and pop functions to actually cater to this problem. Let's go ahead and understand it. So the first thing in this problem to understand is we need to check whether the parenthesis, the string of parenthesis that we are having is balanced or not. Fine. So say that you're having this string. Fine. You're having another string like this. You're having one string like this. Fine. You're having one string like this and a string like this and one like this. Now, these are some parenthesis strings that I have. These are some strings that are having parentheses and we need to check whether they are balanced or not. Fine. So the simple rule is you should find opening and closing pairs in the right order, then it is balanced. I'll tell you what I'm saying. Look, this is an opening parenthesis. This is again an opening. As soon as you find a closing, this should match with the previous one. Fine. This should be a pair of the previous opening bracket or parenthesis. Fine. If you see, these are the pair, these are also a pair. So they are balanced. Fine. It is not just about that the number of parentheses should be equal, opening and closing parentheses should be equal. It is just not about that. Let me tell you. It is also of the correct order. The order should be correct. That is more important. बात ये है सिर्फ इतना सा नहीं है कि equal number of closing और opening parentheses हो, ये भी जरूरी है कि उनका order ठीक हो. For example, if you carefully see, in this particular example, the opening and closing parentheses are in same number. Fine. They are, the pairs are existing, but are the pairs existing in the right order? No, they are not existing in the right order. Why? क्या ये mathematically correct है? इसके बाद क्या ये opening parenthesis, ये closing parenthesis आ सकती थी? नहीं आ सकती, right? So for this opening parenthesis, there should be the closing parenthesis that matches it. If a closing parenthesis that does not match comes immediately after an opening parenthesis to which it is not matching, then it is not a balanced string. So this is not balanced parenthesis. Fine, not balanced, and this is balanced. This is balanced. This is not balanced because of course for this closing pair does not exist. Pardon, for this it exists. For this it does not. Here for this it does not exist. So this is also not balanced. This is not balanced because for this particular bracket opening parenthesis is not there. Fine. So now how to solve it? For those who have studied the stack from me regularly, or for those who have watched the previous videos regularly, they can easily figure out that push or pop से ही हो जाएगा ये काम, ठीक है? Easy है, but how to plug in those push and pops, that's the real game. Fine. So I'll explain you. बहुत simple है. All you need to do is, we have a stack, fine, and for this particular stack, if I have a string that is this, fine, say this is the string. Now for such string, what you need to do, the first thing is whenever you find an opening parenthesis, push it in the stack. So this is an opening parenthesis, push it in the stack. Fine. This is again an opening parenthesis, push it in the stack. As soon as you find a closing parenthesis, check the top of the stack. So basically for closing, if closing parenthesis you find anywhere, then check the top. Fine. Check the top. If on the top there is a pair, so if pair found, I would say, if there is some pair that is present on the top of the stack. For example, for this closing parenthesis, I looked at the top of the stack, there is a pair. Fine, this is a pair of it. So if it is a pair, then pop. If it is not a pair, immediately declare that this is not a balanced parenthesis. Fine. Now if you've popped, then continue checking. I check this. So fine, this is popped. I'll take this away from the stack. This is popped. Now when I see this particular parenthesis, I'll check the top again. Is the bracket a pair? Yes, it is a pair. So I verify it and I pop this out. Fine. So now it has been popped and the string has been exhausted. When the string exhausts and the stack is empty, then only a string can be called a balanced parenthesis string, or the parentheses are balanced. Fine. Just imagine in case another opening parenthesis would have been there. So what would have happened? You would have checked it. It is an opening parenthesis. So by rule, you push it inside the stack. Now when you push it inside the stack, the string has been exhausted. Fine. The string has been exhausted, the string has been completely traversed, but here the stack is not empty. So when the stack is not empty and the string has been completely traversed, then at that point, remember one thing, the parenthesis is not balanced. It is not balanced. It is clearly visible that it is not balanced. Fine. Also, had there been a situation where I told you that there is one more parenthesis which is a closing parenthesis. Now in this case, till this particular point, it was a balanced parenthesis. As soon as you encounter this another closing parenthesis, you will check the top of the stack. The top of the stack does not have its opening pair. The stack is empty, whatsoever may be the reason, but it is not having its pair. Fine. So in that case, again, the string is not balanced. Fine. I have imagined all the cases, और in cases से अगर आप implement करते हो जाएगा. Fine. So now let's understand the opening and closing bracket game, and then let's check how it is implemented using code. Fine. So this is the code. The first function is check pair. How do you check pair? If you have two characters to compare, number one, fine. So when you're comparing these two characters, all you need to compare is if the value, basically you're returning this value of 1 equal to opening parenthesis and value 2 is equal to closing parenthesis, or value of 1 equals to opening parenthesis of square type and then this type of closing bracket, and then the third type of parenthesis is this, and we have imagined all the three cases. Now if in out of any of these we have used OR logic, fine, the Boolean OR logic, or the which you use often in digital logic. So we have used OR logic here. Fine. If you're using it, this is a bool type of function. If any one out of them is true, then true would be returned. If any one condition out of these, this is a complete condition. Fine. This is a complete condition. This is again a complete condition. So out of any of these conditions, if any of these conditions is true, then it would return true. If all of them are false, then it would return false. So this is for checking pair. Basically, if you have encountered anything like this, then for that you will check the closing square bracket. If you have encountered anything like this, then you will check for the closing parenthesis. If you have encountered such curly opening parenthesis, then you will check for the closing opening parenthesis. Fine. So this is for check pair. Now comes the check balanced function. Fine. In this, I put the string. Fine. That string. For example, I say this is the string that we have. This is a non-balanced string. Fine. So in this case, I declare a stack of characters S. Then I go further, and for int I equals to 0, I less than expression dot length, which is the length of the string, and I go on. Basically, I traverse the whole string. Now, if any of the opening parenthesis is found, which is true, we have taken this as the string. Fine. If I am not wrong, यही है ना string? नहीं, closing parenthesis है last one. So we have taken this as the string. Fine. So if this is the string, then in this case, what would happen? If you encounter any opening parenthesis, I am saying push. So there is a stack. I encounter opening parenthesis, I push. Fine. When you push, when you execute this if block, again you go back and the loop starts. Fine. Now when the loop starts, you go further, you again find an opening parenthesis, you push it in. Now when the loop checks this is a closing parenthesis, now it is not an opening parenthesis. Now this if block will not execute, so I come to the else block. Coming to the else block, if s dot empty, which means if stack is empty, return false. So if stack would have been empty for all the opening or for the any closing parenthesis, because this is now where I'm trying and checking. So this is the closing parenthesis that I found. Had it been empty, I had told you it would have returned false and the answer would have been not balanced. Fine. Now else if it is not empty, check pair s dot top. So we have used the check pair function there. What would happen? S dot top. So s dot top is this, expression of I is this. I'll pass both these characters. What will happen? Is this condition true? Yes, this condition is true. Fine. So when I found that the condition is true, what will I do? I'll go ahead and I found that this is the pair, this is true. So s dot pop will execute, this will execute. So basically this gets popped out. Fine. And when this pop happens, you continue. Now what is this continue doing? This continue takes you out of this else block and you go further checking. You do not execute this return false statement. We'll come to it when it can be executed. Right now it is not being executed. Fine. It will only execute if you do not find a pair, then you come here. Fine. As simple as that. Now you go ahead, you check for this particular parenthesis. Now when I check for this parenthesis, again this if block will not work. I come to this else block. Again this if s dot empty is not true because the stack is not empty. Then I check for the pair. Now when I check for the pair, what is on the top of the stack? On the top of the stack this is present, and in the expression I am finding this closing parenthesis. So check pair would return true. When this returns true, the condition of else if becomes true, this executes, s dot pop happens. So basically this pop happens. Fine. When this pop happens, what goes ahead? It continues. Now when it continues, I reach to this closing parenthesis. Now when I reach to this closing parenthesis, if you go ahead and if you find at this point of time s is empty, stack is empty, so it would simply return false. And where is it returning false? To this check balanced function. So when false comes as the output, this particular function would return that I am having the false output. This is not a balanced parenthesis string. So if you carefully see, this is not balanced because still here it was balanced. This is creating the imbalance, so it is not a balanced string of parenthesis, and that's what is happening here. Fine. So when check balanced returns false, you see out not balanced. If it had been true, you would have printed balanced. Fine. As simple as that. Now all you need to do is, this is given, go ahead, check this string yourself. I am giving you this as a homework. Check it and tell in the comment section, did you dry run it or not? In the comment section, you tell me whether you found out that the expression that you just solved was balanced or not. Of course, you can see it and say, but go ahead and dry run it on the code. That would give you the practice. Fine. So that is all for today. And before I wind up, there is one more thing. I had written one return s dot empty here. Why it was there? When you would have executed everything, say that you were not having this particular parenthesis, then at that point of time, what would have happened? When I would have popped for this and I would have continued, then at that point of time, this return s dot empty would have been true. and then it would have gone ahead and balanced parenthesis would have been returned. Fine. So in that case, what would have happened? When you have nothing to scan here and you go ahead, you come out of all the blocks, you come out of all the existing blocks here, then s.empty would have returned true in this case, when the string would have been completely traversed and s would have been empty, and in that case it would have been a balanced parenthesis. Fine. So it is written for that, as simple as that. Okay, is it clear now? So it is not a big deal and it is easy to go ahead, and you should try and do the homework that I have given. Now if you have any doubt, please go ahead and comment. If you have solved it, if you have done the homework, tell me in the comment section, because that will tell me how fast you are learning and where do you need my help. As simple as that. Fine. So there's another advantage, that is top 3 comments stand a chance to win 3 months free Prep Insta Prime subscription. So don't miss out on that, and follow these social media handles so that you never miss any hiring update from our side. Fine. So have a wonderful day. All I can say is keep doing good. Good will come back to you.